Have you ever noticed how your peace slowly disappears? Not all at once, but little by little, after certain people enter your life. Have you ever walked into your own home feeling emotionally exhausted, even though nothing terrible happened? And what if the greatest threat to your inner peace is not the outside world, but the people you allow too close to your soul? Most people spend their lives protecting physical things. They lock their doors, protect their money, guard their possessions, but very few protect their minds. Very few protect the emotional atmosphere surrounding their lives, and because of that, they unknowingly allow chaos to sit at their table, negativity to sleep in their homes, and toxic energy to slowly poison their spirit. What if the people around you are shaping your destiny more than you realize? The Stoics understood something deeply powerful. Your environment is never neutral. The energy you surround yourself with eventually becomes the energy living inside you. Marcus Aurelius warned himself constantly to guard his mind against corruption. Seneca reminded us that we slowly become like those we spend the most time with. And Epictetus taught that inner peace requires boundaries, because not everyone deserves unlimited access to your life. This is not arrogance. This is wisdom. Today, you will discover why protecting your peace is one of the most important responsibilities you have, and why some people, no matter how familiar they feel, quietly destroy your spirit from the inside. Stay until the end, because the final realization may completely change how you choose the people around you. If this resonates, comment peace. Your home is not just walls and furniture. It is energy. It is emotional atmosphere. It is the place where your mind either recovers or slowly breaks down. Most people think danger always looks obvious. Loud enemies, aggressive people, betrayal. But some of the most damaging people arrive softly. They enter through trust, through familiarity, through emotional closeness. And because you care about them, you ignore the signs until your peace is already gone. This is why the Stoics were extremely careful about who they allowed into their inner world, because the wrong person does not just consume your time, they consume your clarity. And there are 3 types of people who quietly destroy inner peace more than anyone else. The first is the gossip. At first, gossip feels harmless. A few comments here and there, small conversations about other people, tiny judgments disguised as entertainment. Most people laugh along without thinking deeply about it. But what they fail to understand is this: gossip changes the emotional climate of every room it enters. Think about how you feel after spending hours around people who constantly criticize others. Your mind feels heavier, more negative, more suspicious. Slowly, without realizing it, you begin seeing people through the lens of judgment too. This is how toxic energy spreads, not dramatically, quietly. Seneca once warned that the people around us shape our character more than we think. If you constantly surround yourself with bitterness, negativity, and shallow judgment, eventually your own peace begins to rot from the inside. Most people gossip because it gives them temporary feelings of superiority. Talking about others distracts them from confronting themselves. It is easier to criticize someone else's life than to build your own. But you must become more conscious than that. Because people who constantly gossip about others will eventually gossip about you too. Someone who finds pleasure in tearing others down cannot be trusted with your vulnerability. And once trust disappears, peace disappears with it. Imagine inviting someone into your home who constantly carries dirt on their shoes. At first, the mess seems small, barely noticeable. But over time, the entire house becomes polluted. Negative conversations work the same way. They pollute emotional space. And this is why protecting your peace sometimes means walking away from conversations that everyone else considers normal. Most people call it harmless. But you understand energy. You understand influence. You understand that what enters your ears eventually enters your mind. This is not weakness. This is awareness. If you feel this, comment 1. The second type of person who destroys peace is the disrespectful person. And this type is even more dangerous because disrespect rarely begins loudly. It begins subtly, small dismissive comments, ignoring your boundaries, mocking your feelings, interrupting your peace, making you feel guilty for expressing your needs. At first, you tolerate it because you want to be understanding, patient, compassionate. But slowly, something inside you begins to change. You become emotionally tense around them. Your nervous system stops relaxing. Even their presence starts draining your energy. Why? Because the soul recognizes disrespect before the mind fully admits it. Epictetus taught that we must clearly decide what is acceptable in our lives and what is not, because if you tolerate repeated disrespect, you are teaching people how to treat you. Read that again carefully. Every boundary you fail to protect becomes permission. Most people abandon themselves just to keep relationships alive. They stay silent to avoid conflict. They laugh off disrespect to appear easygoing. They allow emotional violations because they fear losing people. But there is a painful truth most people learn too late. The more you betray your own boundaries, the more you betray your inner peace. Imagine a beautiful garden without fences. Anyone can walk in. Anyone can damage the flowers. Anyone can leave destruction behind. Eventually, the garden loses its beauty entirely. Your mind works the same way. Without boundaries, your peace becomes vulnerable to everyone's chaos. And here is what makes disrespect so dangerous. It slowly destroys self-worth. Not instantly, gradually. The more you tolerate being treated poorly, the more your spirit begins believing you deserve it. That is why protecting your peace is not selfish, it is survival. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself not to become emotionally dependent on the approval of others, because the moment your peace depends on someone else's behavior, you lose control over yourself. Most people allow disrespect because they are afraid of loneliness, but you must understand this deeply. Loneliness is painful, but losing yourself is far worse. This is not cruelty. This is self-respect. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is no. No to toxic behavior. No to emotional manipulation. No to people who repeatedly disturb your peace and call it personality. Because maturity is realizing that not everyone deserves unlimited access to your energy, and this leads to the third type of person, the person who constantly carries chaos. You know this person. Their life is always exploding, always drama, always conflict, always emotional storms. At first, you feel compassion. You want to help them, support them, save them. And because you care deeply, you keep giving your energy away little by little, but eventually, you begin feeling exhausted every time they appear. Why? Because chaos is contagious. Marcus Aurelius understood something most people ignore. You cannot control the disorder inside another person. You can only control how much of that disorder you allow into your own life. This truth changes everything. Most people think being kind means absorbing everyone's pain endlessly. But the Stoics believed wisdom requires balance. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-destruction. Imagine carrying someone else's emotional weight every single day. At first, you feel strong enough, but eventually, your own spirit becomes tired, heavy, drained. And this is where many people lose themselves. They become caretakers of endless chaos while neglecting their own peace entirely. But you must understand something important. You are not responsible for fixing everyone. Some people do not want solutions. They want emotional dependency. They become addicted to drama because chaos gives them identity. And if you are not careful, they will pull you into storms that were never yours to carry. This is why inner peace requires emotional discipline. You must learn the difference between helping someone and drowning with them. Most people never learn this distinction, and because of that, they spend years emotionally exhausted, mentally overwhelmed, spiritually depleted. But you are becoming more aware now. You are beginning to understand that peace is fragile, and fragile things require protection. Not everyone deserves entry into your private world. Not everyone deserves your vulnerability. Not everyone deserves your emotional energy. This is not coldness. This is wisdom. Think about nature for a moment. A strong tree still protects its roots. A peaceful temple still has walls. Even the human body has skin to protect what is sacred inside. Why? Because everything valuable requires boundaries. And your mind is no different. The Stoics understood that peace is not found accidentally. It is built intentionally, through awareness, through discipline, through choosing carefully who gets access to your life. Most people wait until they are emotionally destroyed before they start protecting themselves. But wisdom means noticing the damage early. Notice how certain people make you feel after they leave. Do you feel calm, inspired, grounded? Or do you feel anxious, drained, emotionally heavy? Your nervous system often recognizes danger before your mind does. Pay attention to that, because energy never lies. And this is where the deepest truth appears. Protecting your peace is not about rejecting people. It is about respecting yourself. It is understanding that your inner world shapes your entire life. Your thoughts shape your emotions shape your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. So if your environment constantly poisons your spirit, eventually your entire life begins suffering. Most people underestimate this, but you cannot build a peaceful life while constantly allowing toxic energy into your sacred space. You cannot heal while surrounded by people who enjoy chaos. You cannot grow while constantly shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable. And you cannot hear your own soul clearly when surrounded by endless noise. This is why solitude often becomes healing. Because silence restores clarity, distance restores perspective, and boundaries restore peace. The world will often make you feel guilty for protecting your energy. People will call you distant, difficult, changed. But understand this carefully. Every strong person eventually becomes selective, not because they hate people, but because they finally understand the cost of allowing the wrong people too close. This is not isolation, this is intelligence. So choose carefully who enters your life. Choose carefully who sits at your table. Choose carefully whose voice becomes part of your inner dialogue. Because some people bring peace, and others bring poison disguised as familiarity. The difference determines the quality of your life, and once you understand this deeply, everything changes. You stop chasing approval. You stop over-explaining boundaries. You stop sacrificing your peace just to avoid disappointing others. And for the first time, you begin protecting your soul like something sacred, because it is. Comment peace if you understand. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And remember, not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Protect your peace before the world teaches you why you should.